Hello, everybody, and all situated for our live. Let's see. That's pretty good. Get my iPad going. I was like, why is my Facebook app not opening? Oh, and I freaked out for a second because it did not look like my mat was very even, but I think we're okay. Just like that. All right, let's zoom out a little. All right, if you're stopping by, drop a quick comment just to say hello. Let me know that you are here. And I've got some fun, festive, holiday Facebook Live stuff planned. So excited for us all to get crafty today. Also realizing that I need to plug my phone in. Where is... Oh, phooey. Y'all, it's always something. Come on, cable. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong cable. Gosh darn it. I tell you, these Apple devices be changing their charging cables and everything, all the things. I am just beside myself sometimes. All right, I think that works. We are all plugged in. We're gonna get into some crafting. So hello, everybody. I hope you are having a fantastic day. I am going to be doing some ghostly fun creations today using the Friendly Spirit stamp set. And I'm doing something today that I haven't done in I think any of my lives before. And that is, I'm coloring 3 images. I usually color just one, but I really enjoy coloring up ghost images because they're really quick. So I'm going to show you guys using my Olo markers. I'm only going to use, I think, 3 or 4 markers per image. We're going to start with Cool Gray 3. I do have to grab a piece of scrap cardstock. What do I got over here? Just to kind of be on the bottom. Do I have something? I can use this. Black will work. And I just kind of like to color it like close to the line where there would be a shadow, but not actually on the line. And then just kind of down. We'll go up the arm like this. And then down the body. Just kind of like that. Just kind of keeping it simple, not doing too much. I'm just coloring up these ghosts. I'm not going to color these up twice either. I'm going to just do them once because I don't want them being too dark. So I'm just going to start coloring all these in. Excited to color this setup. I've been waiting for this fandom for a while. So I'm glad it is now free reign for Facebook Live use. Do that, perfect. And then this ghost. I'm just kind of coloring close to the line, but not right on it. This is going to kind of give like a roundedness to the image, which I think helps when it's like this. And then I'm going to do the mouths later and focus on the bodies first. All right, let's see. Next we're going to do some CG1. You know what? I should do around the stomach too. Talking about roundedness. All right. Now CG1. Just kind of work to bring that out a little bit, but still staying on the one side of the line. Not coloring all the way to the stamped edge. Just like that. Up the stomach. Perfect. All right. Let's do... Now, these are all brothers. They're supposed to be like the uncles for the main character. Or for the main ghost of this set. I thought about coloring them up, that they weren't like white ghosts, that they had like an orange or a purple glow to them, but I talked myself out of it. I thought we would just keep it simple. So, all right, so going in. Third brother. I'm going to focus on the open mouths at the end because I'm going to color those grayscale instead of adding colors in. I just think that would be kind of weird. Alright, and then lastly, I'm going to take my 0 marker. And we just took a journey with that one. And we're just going to kind of blend these lines out a little bit. Just so everything works nicely. It's going to soften those edges. Like that. I could see a reboot of this movie happening. I think it's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, this fandom is. Well, not this fandom, but like this specific iteration of the fandom. Which, gosh, that's just crazy. Just kind of adding this colorless marker, just trying to blend it out a little bit. All right. And maybe could have gone maybe just a smidge darker with the ghosts, but it does give you a little bit of an idea of what they would look like with some shadowing. All right, let's add a little bit of shadow to the mouths of the bottom two. So I'm gonna go in, this is CG5. And then let's do just like that. All right, and then we're gonna go in with some CG3. CG1. And a little bit of 0 for the teeth. All right, that's enough with markers. Let's see, do I have a gel pen over here? It doesn't look like it. Let me go grab one. But as you can see, these clearly get brought together really quickly. But I'm going to add some gel pen accents. Just to kind of make them pop a little bit. Just like that. Just a little bit. Which I know might seem a little redundant because they're white as it is, but it'll just help accentuate the roundedness that I was going for. All right, let's see. And then cool. All right, I think we've got them situated. Let me see. Yeah, I like how that looks. Simple, but colored. I'll bring it up a little closer to the camera so you can actually see the shading. Because it's there, it's just very subtle. But it's, like I said, you're able to get it colored out really quickly. And that's why I figured I would color all 3 of them up during this live. The only thing that stinks is now I have to fussy cut them, which is totally fine. So let's cut the slender one first. Just kind of get him all nice and cut out. Also, too, the lines for these guys, they're pretty curved and easy to cut around. There's not a lot of detail going on, which makes it really easy to work with. You could also have a lot of fun with these images with different techniques. For example, you could stamp them out and emboss them on vellum in like white embossing powder. That would definitely give a spectral glow to them. Or you could even like color the vellum if you didn't want it to be white, but you still wanted to capture that translucentness. Whatever you think. Let's just kind of go around. All right, we're getting there. we got one uncle. And let's do this uncle, the second uncle. If anyone has any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. I know it's a quiet Facebook Live tonight, but sometimes it's just nice to watch and listen and not feel like you've got to talk or chat at all. So I hear you there. Just kind of work on getting him cut out. I also think colors that work really well with ghosts is like a very, very light lime green, or also a very, very light like blue green. I think those have very sort of glowy elements to them that help. All right, there's uncle number 2. Uncle number 3. See how we can get him taken care of. Usually, guys, you know I add a lot more detail to my images, but we're coloring for a very long time. But today, this is nice and quick. The other thing with ghosts, too, is like, if you stamp them out on white paper, there's certain areas you may not even want to color if you want to keep them white, you know? So sorry, you guys, my nose is running. Let's see. All right, we got the 3 uncles taken care of. So that's great. So now what we're going to do is work on the rest of the card, which is actually pretty easy. So I grabbed the Spooky Hotel paper pack, and I just realized I shoved a stencil into it. My goodness. But anyways, I've got the Spooky Hotel paper pack, and I decided to use the black and purple spider print paper. And I'm going to use it. I've got a couple oval stitch die cuts that I cut out from my stash, and we're just going to do a little bit of embellishing with these. So this is a metallic paper of the orange that's going to work really nicely. And then this is a purple, that matches kind of closely to the purple of the spider webs. So let's do some ink blending. I also need to grab, oh no, am I out of craft towels in here? Yes. Oh my goodness. What have I been doing? I need to do laundry is what I need to do. Huh. Let's see. I gotta grab a craft towel. Of course, they're being elusive at the moment. So I'll just open up a new roll. Sorry, you guys. And I've got that. That'll work. Okay, so we're gonna grab, I've got a purple blending brush. And I've got some seedless preserves. Ooh, that's dark. I'm just gonna kind of start bringing this in. This is Fig cardstock from Concord and Ninth. I thought it did a really good job matching what I was looking for in terms of a color. So yes, this is seedless preserves. So a little bit of that, and I'll do a brief little bit of cleanup. What I love about the Kindred Stamps glass mats is that the white really allows you to see all the colors you're using, and it makes cleaning up just a little bit easier. Next, we're going with some Villainous Potion, which is a darker purple and has more blue to it, so it's really going to start to darken up the edges. Got that. And then I'm gonna go in with some black soot. Ooh, I don't want to use that one. That's okay. Grab my black blending brush. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Let's do a little bit of splatter work. Let me see, where did I put, there we go. So we're gonna just do some opaque white. And some opaque black. I think that should be enough. Make sure this is all off to the side. Grab a clean watercolor brush. I've seen before about tapping it on a block. That does not work for me. We need bigger splatters. There we go. All right, there we go. And we'll do a little bit of black. All right, perfect. I do a little bit of cleanup, but I'll set this aside to dry. I like to add splatters because it adds some really nice texture and color to our different panels. So I reach for those often. All right, so we'll set that aside to dry. Just got my spray. I'll do a little bit of cleaning. I like to put my paper splatters on an acrylic block because it makes the cleanup process go a lot smoother, especially during a Facebook Live. Sometimes they really get smeary when they're on a glass mat. So I like to not have to do that. All right. Cool. Let's see. We'll leave that to dry. I'm also going to start working on my sentiment. And my sentiment's going to be heat embossed. Cut down this black paper we were using. Always need a good black cardstock in your stash, I think. You know what? I'm going to just trim that. I have this gray cardstock that's just kind of looking at me. I'm going to use that instead. Maybe I'll do a little bit of distressing with it. So let's go in. I've got my Misty. And then I'm going to grab the Friendly Spirit stamp set. And I'm using the sentiment that says, I can't believe I missed your birthday. Which I think work really well for these three. They're a little chaotic. They would miss a birthday. All right. And then I'm going to grab my Tailored Expressions Anti-Static Embossing Tool. And what I usually like to do is press down my sentiment once again, just to kind of help condition it. This is the first time I'm using it, so I want to make sure it's not going to like have any issues with the impression. All right, let's do some Snowfall embossing powder. All right. I'm gonna have to get some sentiment strip dies shortly too, but that's okay. Let me put this off to the side. I will clean that later. That's the wrong tool, Justin. All right. Perfect. All right, now I just gotta grab some sentiment strip dies so I can do that. We're gonna wipe off the excess static powder. So just like that. And then I am gonna grab, I just kind of gotta map out how long I think the sentiment is. I guess it would be this technically. Yeah, that would be the one. Let's see. Oh, phooey. All right. All right, we've got our sentiment, which looks pretty good in my opinion. All right. I might do, like I said, a little bit of distressing with black ink. Stay tuned. stamp before I do anything else so I don't lose it. Get this all nice and clean. I like to clean as I'm working, especially during a Facebook Live, because it reminds me just to put things away. And that's, if you do that while you're creating, I think that's one of the most helpful things, because you're putting things back in their spot and like, it doesn't make the final mess as big as it could be. So, I don't know. I like to kind of pick up a little bit as I go. Of course, depending on what I'm working on. Usually if it's not a Facebook Live, I'm a little bit more messy just because you know what? My thought process is a little skewed because it's like, well, because I don't need to be as like organized, but it doesn't really matter. You should still try and be organized during your crafting because it helps if you lose something. Sorry, I'm gonna go in. Perfect. I think we're good there. Let me adhere this to my orange oval. Just like that. I really like the pop of orange. I think it helps well with Halloween colors. All right, and while that's setting, I'm gonna work on doing some foam tape. I've got this really thin 1mm foam tape that I've kind of been loving lately. Because it gives a little bit of lift to my items, but not like crazy amounts of lift, which sounds a little Goldilocks, where it's like too much, too little, just right. This is kind of on the too little side, but I've been enjoying using it. Perfect. There's one brother, or uncle rather. Let me see, let's grab another piece. I thought about making like a spinner card, and I talked myself out of it because I didn't know how the ghosts would look if they were in like inverted. I was like, let's just go with them more being in an upright manner. I like that this tape is easy to work with. Doesn't cause too many problems. All right, there's number 2. And then ghost number 3. Okay, perfect. Make sure, yes, this is nice and set. I think I'm also going to add some foam tape behind this to give this a little bit of lift as well. Why not? It's out, let's have fun with it. So it'll give me a little bit of extra lift with our elements. Almost there. Now, one reason I don't like to put foam tape behind my main panels is because, like, I want to make sure it's positioned properly And foam tape does unfortunately limit the amount of time you have to make sure something adheres to the paper. Liquid adhesive, of course, is what's going to give you the most time. So what I like to do to try and give myself just a little bit more is I like to put a little bit of liquid adhesive on the foam tape. This way it gives me like a little less friction or a little less stickiness, and I'm able to kind of get a couple extra seconds to work my image into place. Just adding that foam tape with the liquid adhesive. Just like this. All right. So then I've got the spider print from the Spooky Hotel down to an A2 size. Let's see. Ovals can also be like a little awkward sometimes to work with, so I'm trying to be mindful, but actually I really like this, how this looks. It's a very kind of like elegant, spooky look to this card. So we're going to put the sentiment, I think I'm going to put it just like right in the middle. Gosh, I think there's squirrels getting into an argument in our yard. Just like that. I think that works nicely. And then we're going to put this guy up here, and I think we're just going to do it like that. I think that works. All right, so I just got to remove all the foam tape from the back of these ghosts. Sometimes removing foam tape is one of the hardest parts. No, scratch that. It's very easy, but it's like, it can really be a time suck. So, oh my gosh, there are squirrels getting into an argument in my yard, my God. Like the first time in literal months that I have had my windows open when doing a Facebook Live, because the temperature is just getting to that point of the season. All right. And the squirrels are going to get into an argument. My goodness. All right. As I'm getting these into place, I wanted to remind you guys of a couple Kindred important happenings. The first is the Advent calendar. The pre-sales are still open, of course. They're going to remain open until next week, Thursday. That's going to be your last day to get those pre-orders in. If you guys have figured out the fandom, which is not that hard to do given the sneak Audra gave, you're going to need this set, just putting it lightly. I can't go into a bunch of detail, but I would hope that given what the cost of the Advent calendar is, you can tell that there's going to be a lot included. And of course, these items are going to be exclusive, which means that there is no plan to restock them. I mean, you want to make sure to grab them because you're not going to know when they're going to be back. Audra is also going full out and bringing back the pattern of doing the opening of the envelopes, like a daily reveal with these. It's going to be big. It's going to be a big thing. If you got, like I said, if you know what fandom it is and you love that fandom, and I know it's a popular one, you are going to want this kit. Other thing, and just while I'm getting this into place and getting this onto a card base, our retreat, we are still having a couple open spots, but they are getting less and less. We are just about 5 spots left for the retreat. This is another one that there is going to be exclusive product for attendees. And going back to what exclusive means, it's not something that's going to be available for sale in the shop. So if you like the fandom that the theme of the retreat is, it's another really should consider if it's within your means. I get that traveling may not work for everybody. Sometimes, of course, people say that they prefer virtual events, and we've tried to bring those as well, but every once in a while, I know we love to have a actual physical get together. And we're very happy to finally host a meetup in Orlando. I'm going to take out some sparkle spots. I just wanted to make sure I knew what color I was doing. So that is the second thing that I wanted to go over. And the third thing, which is just kind of a general reminder, our release is going to be earlier this month. It's going to be next week, Friday, which is the 17th of October. We're going to start with release week, the little snippet pieces where you can kind of start to guess what set you might be seeing. You're going to see those on Sunday, and then we're going to have the design team share sneaks throughout the week. Like usual, I don't think, just like the last release, we are not going to do an event. You're going to be able to see everything right in the fan club. This way we can just make sure as algorithms change that everybody is being able to see the content, because I know you guys love your releases, and so do we, and we all love to share in the excitement. So definitely keep your eyes and ears open for release information. And yeah. So I think those are the three things. The advent calendar with the pre-sales closing next week, Thursday the 16th. Then the release is going to be next week, Friday the 17th. And then lastly, the retreat. The retreat is going to be, it's the 20th through the 22nd of February at Disney Springs in Orlando, Florida. We're so excited. We are so very excited. I want to add a couple more of these. I don't think that's enough. Let's see what I can do. There we go. Just one more little one. One more little one, please. There we go. Do 5 little spots. I'm trying to limit the amount of embellishments that I do just because I don't want to overdo it. But then again, if you overdo the embellishments, so be it. It's still a pretty card. All right, you guys. I think we are all done. Another thing I thought that would be really pretty to do is if you wanted to add any sort of detail, you definitely could. Like, I'm thinking of, what are they called? Stickles. If you've got like clear glitter stickles that you could add to them to give them a little bit of extra shine, that would definitely work. But I like the detail where we're at for now. So we used the Friendly Spirit stamp set to make a Halloween themed card using the Spooky Hotel paper pack, which I think the Spooky Hotel paper pack, even though this takes place more along the lines of in a haunted mansion, works really nicely for the theme of this. I love the purple from the spider webs. I love the orange, the pop of the metallic orange. We also use some snowfall embossing powder for our sentiment. And I think this is really fun. I think this is a fun way to use your nested die sets. I love nested die sets that are also stitched, like this oval shape. I don't know if it's called like an oblong oval. I don't like crafting with traditional ovals because I feel like they're kind of hard to like accurately line up, because there is an actual like upside and a downside, as opposed to a circle where you can put a circle wherever and it works. Ovals are not as easy. This one, at least with these straight lines, can tell you how to line things up a little bit. So I do love that. But yeah, we've got this all taken care of. I've got one more live coming up. That is going to come to you next week, Saturday. Saturday's the 18th of October. I'll be going live in the fan club at 12 p.m. Pacific time. I think the plan, and if I don't get to it next week, if we decide to still go spooky, I might change, but I promised coming up that I was going to work with the Kindred Town pet set. So that's going to come up really soon. I have a very emotional attachment to that set that I can go over when I use it. That's also kind of dictating my thoughts about when I'll get to using it as well, just because I'm trying to navigate everything. But that'll all make a lot more sense when I explain it. But thank you guys so very much. I hope you had a lot of fun. Like I said, I know this was a super quiet live, but I saw our view numbers go up as I've been going on. So I hope you guys had some fun just sort of watching what I was doing, picking up a couple techniques for maybe how you can color ghosts, how you can use your nested dies, what are fun ways to add some different distress and elements to your die cuts. And then I hope to see you for my next live on Saturday the 18th. Thank you all so very much for stopping by today. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you real soon. Goodbye. Oh, wait. Someone did say a comment. Hold on. I see a comment. It didn't show me. I'm so sorry. Let's see. I waved and everything, and now we're going to go back for just a second. What color are your ghosts? White is hard. Barb, I used Olo markers. I used Cool Gray 3, Cool Gray 1, and the white, the 0 marker. If you have Copic markers, you can use you can use the exact same Cool Gray 3, Cool Gray 1. Actually, then I would go to Cool Gray 00 because Olos don't have that. That would work really nicely. You could also amp it up a little bit to get a little bit more shadow, where you could do like C4, C2, C0, and then you could use the colorless blender. That might be what I would do, because this is really light. Even me looking at it right now, like, I can see the detail. I don't know how well it's going to necessarily photograph though. And I know it's there, but that's what I would recommend. Do the cool grays, stay on the lower side. Don't go more than like Cool Gray 4, Cool Gray 5 is your darkest color. And then also, Barb, what I would recommend, I did not color these twice. I did them one time because I knew if I colored them twice, it was going to get too dark for me. So I hope that helps. I know that kind of threw the Facebook Live back into a different track after waving bye to everyone, but thank you all so very much once again for stopping by. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and then I will see you next week for my next live.